that could fulfill my intellect, that could keep me entertained long enough for me to consider being with her for a year, let alone the rest of my life, right? Because I was so accustomed to different women. Multiple women every week was always the goal, and that was the lifestyle. So to think that I could find everything I need in one seemed impossible. But in the back of my mind, my current lifestyle, or my lifestyle at the time, was exhausting.
I was just about to say, isn't it just much simple?
Oh,
like
it is.
It's definitely still hard, and I'm talking like I'm married. It seems as though it's like, wow, like I have something that I build, and every time I come back, it's where I left it. We're still building, and
to have one woman that you know has your back, that you know you can trust, that you can leave your phone out and not trip, that she can leave her phone out, that you can get tested and not have to worry about anything. You can.
We getting deep.
I mean, like it's just like a sense of peace that you don't have living that other lifestyle. And so now, having lived on the opposite extreme from being a complete man whore to now being a faithful husband of 3.5 years, it's everything I could have imagined and more. You know what I mean? So it's not I'm missing out on anything else. That other stuff was preventing me from getting to where I'm at now, which is a state of peace I've never had.
Wow.
Yo, what's going on, y'all? Welcome to another episode of the In the Zone podcast. It is your boy, Brian Foster. B. Foster's in the building. As you can see, we have no Chantel today. She is vacationing. I know you're probably watching, though, so have a good time, girl. Enjoy yourself. As you see right now, I have a panel. It's just the fellas. It's just the fellas. It's rarely just the fellas. We rarely get to have fellas time on the In the Zone podcast. So let's go ahead and get it going tonight. As you already know, as people are joining the room, we're having a conversation about how our wives caught our eye and have kept it over the years. Now, I was having a conversation with a friend earlier. She was like, I'm about to blame women for why they can't have a man. No, we're not. No, we're not. That is not the point. I will tell you that some of us were at the point of inflection where we weren't ready to have a wife. We wanted to have a good time. And it wasn't about the ladies we were meeting. It was about us. So sometimes it takes that perfect storm of me being ready and you being the one. But we'll get into that. Let me introduce my guest. First of all, let me say this. I didn't realize this until we were all just sitting here. These are all Whitney Young Dolphins. All Dolphins in the building.
Here.
All Dolphins in various years, but still all Dolphins. I'm going to introduce my man on my right first. Hey, this guy has been my man's 50 grands for a long time, since I was 13. He was my friend. He didn't know it.
I knew it.
He was freshman year. He was my guy. I was like, I know Dale Morrison, goddammit. And that got me some pub at Whitney Young. But that's my man.
Good.
He's a in the zone virgin, so we are popping his cherry. My boy Dale Morrison. D-Mo, what's happening, baby?
Man, I'm excited to be here. I can't believe I'm here. I can't believe I was invited. But B. False, thank you so much for having me. I'm looking forward to the conversation, and it's been my dream to be on your show, believe it or not.
Not, nigga. I don't believe
that. That's all bull crap.
I don't believe that
bullshit
at all.
But I'm truly happy to be here. So it's gonna be fun.
It's gonna be a good time. Appreciate you joining us.
Appreciate it.
On my immediate left, my 49th event sins brother. We at least started raising our kids together. No, we still are. They are like cousins. They like family. Love him and them. He's been on the show a couple times. Y'all know him. My man Solomon. What's happening, brother?
Nothing. Thank you very much. As you know, I always like talking. So thanks for giving me opportunity.
and you'll take care of any one of them. And then on my far left, this is my guy. My man Joe, my floss, my homie, my bourbon buddy. If you've ever been in my house, and many of you have been, if there's anything brown and over $20 on my bar, Joe probably bought the shit. What's going on, Jake?
Man, what's up with y'all? What's up, peoples? Joe Rutherford, y'all know me out there, so let's get this on, man.
And Joe's been up before. You were on.
I was on for
was it the Marvel or the Matrix?
It was the Matrix.
The Matrix.
Yeah, I was. It was the Matrix or Wu-Tang.
All right, I might have been both. Look at that. Oh, Dean,
I
look at this
yeah,
one.
Jamal.
It is who Jamal.
Jamal,
What up,
maybe
y'all?
you'll be polite today, Jamal. Some deference to your dean. Thank you, please. Anyway, as I started the conversation, I was saying today we're going to have, so a lot of times we had these conversations. We've had these conversations on the show many a time about in various ways. Is marriage beneficial for women? How do young ladies attract the man they want? This and that. What's that? And blah, blah, what we've never done is had 4 married guys sit down and have a conversation about marriage. What's in it for us? What we gave up, what we didn't give up. All types of the conversations, but mainly we want to talk about today how you found yourself in love with your wife and what keeps you in love with your wife. And I'm doing this today for 2 reasons. One, I want fellas that are out there that are like, world's my oyster. I'm single. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. I don't need no woman. You might, brother. You might want to rethink that stance. 2, for the ladies that are, interested in relationships and dating seriously and finding a husband. You have 4 husbands up here. So maybe there's some pearls of wisdom that we can provide that you might want to apply to your dating situation or not. Maybe we don't know what the hell we're talking about. We're about to find out. Anyway, so first question. Let's start off with the basics, and I'll start off with something. How'd you meet your wife?
In college at a fraternity party. I actually asked her roommate to dance. Her roommate turned me down.
Wait, you asked her roommate to
Asked her roommate to dance. She turned me
see.
down. So then I asked her. We danced for a little bit. Didn't really connect on that level. Didn't exchange numbers or anything. 2 or 3 days later, we at the bus stop. I walked right past her. She didn't even pay attention to me. Her roommate was like, "That's the guy you were dancing with." She was like, "Really?" I was like, "Oh, okay." So from there, we just talked and talked and talked and talked. And
so been together since college.
Yes.
How many years in total?
Ooh.
A lot of people like to say, I've been, how long you been married? No. How long y'all been together? I'm not just sacrificing them years we was dating.
Well, we met on Friday the 13th, 1991. Wow. So 32 years.
Wow. Jeez.
And we've been married 25 years.
Silver.
10 months, 13 days, 7.5 hours.
She ain't wised up yet. All right, brother, you doing something right. All right, that's what's up. That's what's up.
As I say, you're eligible for parole.
Yeah.
25 years.
Yeah.
All right. That's what's up, Joe.
So my wife, we originally met when we were in college. So I ran across her.
Look on the woman like, shit, I missed my opportunity. I ain't mean to college.
It was, I met her in Champaign. She was on the good girl shit, and I was not on the good guy shit. And I just knew. So I knew of her. But when we met and then started dating was actually at beach volleyball for In the Zone. So a lot of people know.
Another In the Zone.
Right. Brian, no, it's like we played football, softball, whatever. So been around from the original from In the Zone with volleyball. So I saw her out there playing. She'll dispute on how we actually interacted on the volleyball field. We won't talk about that. But met her there, and then a couple of weeks later, a group of us were playing volleyball over there. I forgot the park that was off of Roosevelt, and we all went out to go to the movies. And we went to the movies. I sat with her, and we got back around her house, and I did not get her phone number. And so I chased down Carmen Barnes to get Leslie's phone number, and then that's how we got in touch. Really got in touch with her and going on a date. But yeah, I met her. Really took notice of her playing beach volleyball.
Okay. And how long have you all been together?
We've been married. We've been together, 15 years. And we just celebrated our 13th anniversary Monday.
Oh, happy anniversary, brother.
Yeah, happy anniversary. Thank you.
Happy anniversary, Les, if you're watching.
Oh, she most definitely probably.
Okay. I'm
checking.
Let's see what this motherfucker gonna say. All right. Demon, how about you?
Another college sweetheart story, believe it or not. So if the conversation is going to be that you have to find your woman in college, I don't think you have to, but it just so happens the gentleman that we have up here, we all kind of met.
Well, two of the 4.
And I didn't know. I mean, we didn't make this up, but this is what happened. So 1990-ish, University of Illinois. I had been on campus since 1987, had pledged a couple of years. So got a few things out of my system. Wasn't trying to date. Wasn't interested in dating, to be honest with you.
Mhm.
But a young lady showed up in my life. This is during the Afrocentric time. You know, we were fighting the power. We had If Not Now. We had Nia, and all the stuff was going on at the Black House. And I was hanging out, and this young lady showed up on campus who I'd never seen before. So apparently she had transferred in from another school, and I eyeballed her, and I was like, "Whoa, she's kind of cute, dressed all funky, kind of nice." Wasn't out there, and I said, well, maybe I need to talk to her before some of these guys get a hold of her. But she had talked to a few people even before I met her. So I took my time, and I was like, you know what, this might be the one to shoot my shot at. And for some reason, I was actually, after some conversations, I thought I was interested in her, and I said, you know what, I'm actually going to try to settle down with her if she's okay with that. So I approached her a couple of times, and I come to find out later that she hated my guts. So no, she didn't hate my guts, but she didn't like me because of my perception. Let's put it like that. Because I was the frat guy. Some people say maybe a little attractive, handsome guy.
Touch of a man whore.
touch of that. Rumor has it. No, but honestly, that's my thing was I'm going to have to impress her. And so came at her a couple of times. I think she was dating somebody at the time too. So that added a little another dimension. I said, well, I'm going to have to prove myself that I'm better than the person she's with. So I took her out to a white tablecloth Italian restaurant down in Champaign, Urbana.
Which one?
What's the name of it?
There's more than one?
There's only one. It was off of Lincoln. And I think like
the mall, right?
It was like where the university professors used to come out and hang out. Because actually, when we went there, it was nothing but university professors there.
That sounds like too much money.
Well, you got to treat them once. At least once. You got to impress them once. Let them know you can do it. Because after that, it was Arby's, and it was like, and then it was Burger King after that. But yeah, I ended up taking her out, and it took a little time for me to win her over, but I did eventually win her over. And we've been married now for 27 years. June 1st is going to be our 27th year.
Happy anniversary.
Yeah.
Salute.
So far,
and we've been together since 1990-ish. Am I wrong? I may be wrong-ish, somewhere around there. So that's about 33 years.
Wow.
That's a long time.
It's a long time, brother.
Yes, sir.
So for all the guys out there, my first date, we went to Baskin Robbins. We got a sundae. We split it, and we sat in the park. $3.50. Boom. That's all you got to do.
I like that.
Yeah, that ain't gonna work no more.
Nah, man. Y'all all grown now. Don't try that shit. Don't try that shit.
But ladies, don't trip. So these two guys stayed with their college sweethearts. I married mine, and we were divorced within 2 years.
Well, let's hold on.
Okay.
Hold on.
My first wife.
Hold on.
Okay.
Let's get into that.
Good. I like that.
Let's get into that. So you've been married before?
Yeah.
Your college sweetheart.
Something. Yeah.
Okay. So what happened?
Too young.
Okay.
I to me, and this is just for me personally, I just don't think guys should be married before 30. You know what I mean? Just the maturity level, the growth level, all that. And there was a lot of bullshit we had to deal with in there. But as I've gotten older, I stepped out the bullshit of blaming her. She trying to blame me. It's just looking at it like we were two young motherfuckers. We was 22, 21, 22.
Yeah.
And if you all know me out there, y'all seen young Joe out there. There was no reason for young Joe at 22 years old to be married. Absolutely zero reason. And it's not to blame her or anything, but that's looking back on it now, being a little more mature. So that's why I look at. That's why I say, yeah, guys, ladies, you all mature faster than us. Guys, before, and this is just me personally, I don't think there's a reason to be married before 30.
Let me ask you this, Joe, as a follow-up question. So did you find it, when I say easier might not be the right word, but I'll use easier, more attractive to be married the second time after you'd already experienced it? Or was that a hurdle you needed to get over?
No, so that's a good question. So for me, it wasn't a hurdle. It was literally timing. So when I got separated from my ex-wife, it was 25. And so we won't get between the years of 25 and 32, 33. Brian was around for a lot of that. So we can leave it there. But it was just, I got to the point where I was just ready to settle down. I was like, I'm tired of this life. It's like, let me see what it is. But I grew into a marriage understanding the pitfalls and what not to do and how the shit can go wrong, how shit can go left. And my frame of mind was completely different. So I looked at we'll get into it. But once I was ready, but I felt in the back of my mind, like little voice, I'm like, you ready? You ready? You ready? But I knew what type of woman I was looking for. I knew what type of family dynamic was going to be in there and those types of things. And so until that came about, I was going to stay single. But when I was like, that voice in the back of my head was like, bro, you want to try and settle down, and it's timing. But being that first one, I knew how to look at not just the woman, but the environment she grew in, her parents, all those things, and what type of person she was. So we'll get to talking about that.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, that's a good thing. If he ain't ready, he ain't ready. I mean, you can put together a good environment to kind of coax him along to get him to that I'm ready to settle down and I'm ready to get married. But if he ain't ready, he ain't ready. So, don't think that, oh, okay, well, why isn't he doing this and that? Now that he's not ready to be married. In another year or two, he may be ready and you may have moved on, or you may still be there waiting on him.
Mm-hmm.
But if he sees it in you, he'll probably stick around. But he's still not going to do it until he's ready to do it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I agree. I think, would you say the men are we say people need to be married by 30 years old. I think it's more for the men, because we're still finding ourselves. We're still trying to,
Build
see
your
what we
career,
like,
right?
Build our stacks, see what we like out there in the world. And it takes a couple of years for us to do that. I think women are always ready to kind of jump in, but my suggestion is the men should be the ones who make the move, and not the women should be approaching us. When we decide that's what we want, we will make that move.
How old were you when you actually got married, though, Dale? So you started dating in college, but you were how
like
old?
26.
Okay, so mid-20s.
Yeah, so we dated a couple of years. We went through our stuff. We went through high school, we went to college together. Then I graduated, came back to Chicago for a little while, and so we had our separation time. So, part of the reason why maybe I did not need to wait until 30 years old was because I had some time apart.
Oh, see.
And we had our time apart. She stayed at U of I for a while. I was in Chicago for a while, and we had our distance apart. And I was able to think about it even longer. So when she came back to Chicago, we started kind of dating again at that point. And some things happened, and I made the move towards her at that age.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if I made the suggestion to somebody else at 26 years old, I probably would not tell them to do it at 26. I agree with you. Yeah. But I was mature. I was a mature 26. She was a mature 20, a couple years younger.
There you go.
Well, don't your wife mad.
So no, but you got to be mature to do that. But my suggestion was, I would tell guys wait until 30.
Yeah. So Solomon, you were
27.
27.
27 when we got married. Mm-hmm. We had been living together probably at least 2 years.
Okay, so you had that trial.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we had the trial.
Gotta live.
It wasn't the original plan, but we had the trial, and that worked out. So yeah.
So let me ask you all this. So, and Joe kind of touched on this a little bit earlier. Was it, and actually all of you have to an extent, was it really about the young lady, right? Was it about Marisha, Go
ahead.
No. I'm just saying. Was it about Shadon? Like I'm assuming, like, say your wives' names. Was it about Leslie? What was it about them? And or was it really about that timing of you also being ready to take that next step? So for the audience's sake of reference, I had another young man that was going to be on here that is now 50 and got married just last year. First marriage. And he was going to be the other end of the spectrum for us to talk about what took him so long and what was he waiting for and yada, yada, yada. He unfortunately couldn't make it. But I am curious to know, was it like this combination of she's perfect and I'm ready? Or was it just like she's too perfect to let go? Or was it like I'm just ready to get married and she happens to be here? Like, how did that dynamic work? John, I'm gonna start over there with you.
Yeah, no. So I always knew Leslie as a pretty girl when she was in college, right? Mm-hmm. So right then and there, that was, was it. We all went to Whitney Young, so we all been around pretty women. So that was just the staple of Whitney Young.
Can I say they do have to be pretty?
Exactly. Yes, exactly.
All the pretty girls.
Yeah, you got to be pretty. That's going to attract us.
And I'm going to say
got to be married to
that's Efren, what up, Vega? What up, Bruno? I see you, baby.
Bruno, that's just the arrogance of Whitney Young, dude.
Big Steve, I see you too, brother.
But so what it was that what I was shocked. It was when I saw her again, like, man, she's still cold. She still looking great. But it was I played a lot of sports around the time. Thursday through Sunday, I was doing it in the zone sport. So, but Leslie came out there. She was competitive. I was like, whoa, what's going on with this? It was just pretty out there, but I also knew she was smart. So for me, it was like it was a combination. So it was like, I knew what she was. I knew she was pretty. I knew she was smart. She was competitive. So I'm like, you checking all these boxes. And then at that moment, I was actually like, I'm ready to settle. I'm ready to at least go out and at least try a relationship to see where it will go. Because I've been out in the streets for 7, 8 years, whatever it was. It was a time. It's a time. It was a perfect storm. It literally, I tell people all the time, it was a literal perfect storm. And at that point, I'm like, in my back of my head, I was like, I'm gonna go see what this relationship girlfriend thing work out. And Leslie was the one that was right there. And it was crazy. It was like, oh shit. And I knew her. So it was like, knew of her. I got another story, but I knew I was closer to her brother than her at the time. Didn't know they were brother and sister. That's a wild story to figure out that too. But that, ladies, you have to think about it's timing for a guy. And then once you get tired of wanting to be out there in the streets and do all that,
that's right.
You may be there. If you're the next woman in line right there where he meets her and you start checking boxes, a dude will be like, you know what? Let's see where this goes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's what it is.
I often say that no matter how beautiful you are, no matter how many degrees you have, no matter what sorority you're in, no matter what organizations you do, no matter how much money you make, right? No matter how much dress, how fly you are, all that matters, but none of it matters if he ain't, as Joe has said a couple of times, if he ain't there, right? So it's really got to be about meeting him where he is in that time when he's ready to make that step. What ladies have to do is discern quicker that he ain't ready, right? And you might be burning a couple of years trying to wait for him to be ready. If you're ready and he ain't ready, and as hard as that is to do, you might want to walk away from that relationship. And I'll even say this, brothers, don't kill me. I know, I'm sorry, I'm giving away trade secrets. If you're that fly and he's that afraid of losing you and you walk off, might snap him into some different thinking.
Man, look here.
But at worst, it's gonna save you some time.
Yep. Women, I mean, put that shit. If you make that motherfucker shit or get off the pot. Yeah. And that's the truth. That Leslie came to me that one time. Was like, hey, what the fuck are we doing?
For me,
so Solomon, you were in college, so were you just like the relationship type dude, or
not necessarily? But the good thing is my wife wasn't either. Like, we spent the first year or two hanging out, kicking it off and on, not really serious about each other. She wasn't looking for a boyfriend. I wasn't looking for a girlfriend. But we kept hanging out, talking. Even we were doing other things, we still calling each other, still, hanging out. She ended up getting a job, referred me. I got the job. So then we spent 2 or 3 months basically together all day, every day. And I got to learn more about her, her empathy, her goals, what she wanted to do, and learning all that about her. I was like, damn, she is a catch. And I was like,
so you got to know on a non-romantic level.
Level. And I'm like, and it did get to a point, like towards the end of college, I was like, do I need to snatch her up before, this is gone? Or do I want to try and wait?
And where'd you go to college?
Howard University, the Mecca.
So he had options.
The original HU. Yes,
he had options. Let me just say that.
Exactly. I didn't know her. That's okay. But what ended up happening? It was fortuitous. Is that a word?
There you go. That's the word.
There you go. That's the ACT word. She's not from Chicago. I was planning on moving back to Chicago, going back to my old routine, kicking it, partying, do whatever I had to do. She ended up getting an offer in Chicago and decided to move back here. So then my thought was, cool. I have my girl over here, live in my mom's house, do what I wanted to do. She got a place. We moved the stuff into place. Somehow my mom moved my stuff into her place.
Get on out, bro.
And I was like, I looked up a month or two later, like, what the fuck? What happened?
How'd I wind up here?
How I wound up here? So once today, I was like, well, she's cool. For all the ladies out there, one of the biggest things guys look for, other than looks, which is a priority, but looks fade. Your personality. Woo, no drama. I've and they could probably speak up, but I had boys in college. Their cars got keyed, tires got slashed, dishes got thrown, everything. My wife she knew how to handle the irritating, upset situations in a manner where we could talk about it, communicate, move forward. She wasn't, trying to hit you, trying to beat you, everything else. No drama. And you can live a drama-free life or you can live a drama-filled life. It's up to you. But I looked at her and I was like, you know what? If I can live the next 30 years without having to argue and complain and fight every single damn day, that's a big check on the box.
It's a difference between like drama and a woman putting expectations on you.
Ooh, yeah, sure.
Right? Because that's what first of all, going back to one of the things that you were saying, is there's nothing wrong with the pursuit. Because if you make it too easy, then it's not really worth having in the first place. So when I told you when I first met my wife, she kind of looked the other way, didn't really like me. I had to pursue her, which makes it to me, it made her even more attractive and made me work even harder to come after her. And so I had to wait that time out. And I had to wait my time out for a few other things. Not too long, though, because I'm not going to wait that long. You know that.
Here we go.
All right. So, yeah, we got that
now
in.
you put that on the table.
We had to put that on the table. That's another thing. Yeah, you got to bring that. You got to bring that to the table. You can't hold off too long. But, yeah, it's nothing wrong with putting expectations on your guy. And we expect that because we need to be checked, to be honest with you. We're guys, and we some wild dudes.
Exactly.
And left to our own will and left. If it was just us all the time, it would just be
mayhem.
Mayhem.
Like every day would be it'd be wild.
It'd be grab them by it'd be that kind of stuff.
Trump shit.
It'd be the hangover every day. Hangover movie. But no, I think Dale Solomon put a point on is that fellas, you don't want a woman that is not gonna put expectations on you.
Right. Exactly.
Okay. Because a lot of the times is that when a woman decides to put expectations on you, you need to snatch that woman up because she's seeing further down the line and you can actually see. She's saying like, oh, this brother has potential. Or you're already at a point like, where can I push him? I see what he could be doing. He's not on. That means that woman is looking out for you. You always want to understand how a woman is looking out for you. Expectations. What y'all laughing at?
No.
Yeah, I'm laughing at Kim Thomas's comment.
What did she say? You got to watch out for Kim.
She said, she said my wife said,
yeah.
Unfortunately, she went with the 1908, not the 1913. I'm sorry, but yeah, go ahead.
Am I the only one that's not in the organization up here?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah, actually.
Yeah. So
it's all right, GD.
no. That's, hey man, I'm good.
It's all love here, bro.
Yeah, I love everybody.
Oh.
But I think that the expectations are like my wife puts expectations on me, as she should, and I had to live up to those. And the thing is, and it wasn't expectations that I couldn't live up to.
Right.
It was just expectations to be like, hey, nigga, this is where my standards are.
Yeah. You need to
and these are the expectations that I have out of a relationship.
And I think that's an excellent point because and they're realistic, right? Like so I think we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, and there's the whole I won't date a bus driver, but I'll date the owner of the bus or whatever, which is a whole other thing. Yeah. But not to dive back into that, but for a woman to expect you to treat her right, to be kind, to appreciate her, to you ain't gotta love her mama, but treat her mama with respect. Like some of these basic, not like you got to make a certain amount of money, but just these certain basic, open a car door, open a door every night and get like, you know what I'm saying? Take her out on a
life goals.
Date. Yeah. And have some fucking goals.
Like
a lot of women ain't looking for a whole lot, bro. So when y'all say, I need women trying all these unrealistic expectations,
bullshit.
Nah, bro, you just a bum.
You copy. Right. You don't want to do.
Everybody ain't gonna be a rapper. You got 2 years. If you ain't a rapper within 2 years, what's your backup plan? And girls, you can support him for them 2 years, but after that, if he not moving on, what you doing?
Right. We black men too. I mean, how you gonna move through the world? You gotta raise kids. I mean, these are certain things that you're trying to lay the foundation for you to be successful. And if a woman is not pushing you there and doing those things, she is not the one to be with. That's not the person you want to marry. That's not the one you want to build a life with.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Here.
So it's a partnership, and she's going to hold up her end to make sure. And also, she should also ensure that you're going to hold up your end of a partnership. So if that's not occurring, if that woman is not doing that, hate to say it, fellas, kick it to the curb.
So we've already kind of stepped on the next question, but let's keep that conversation going. What about your wife keeps you happily married? Most of the time. Nobody's happy all the time. Let's be real. They aren't. We aren't. It's fine.
Oh man, I don't know. We laugh a lot. So we laugh a lot. my wife, she still works out. She still keeps her appearance up. She still looks good. I love the way she deals with our kids, with our daughters, how she stays on me regardless, and it's expectations as we evolve and grow. So it literally is, if I look back on it, I thought about that question. So you put that as a list of questions. It's just that from when I first started dating, when we first got married, it's evolved. It's an evolution, and the evolution track has stayed the exact same. You know what I mean? It's not saying it's the exact same, but I can count on my wife to be my backbone. That's my friend. I can talk to her. She is sexy to me. I was thinking about how I was going to answer that driving in. My wife is still sexy to me, right? So, and if you, and that's the thing. She worries about appearance, and so I got in trouble for something I did on Facebook, some picture things, and it hurt her. But then as I looked back on it, I understood why, because she still wants to be that beautiful woman for me, and to project that for others as well. So I was like, oh shit, let me think about that. That's powerful right there. But the other thing is that I see how she deals with our girls, and I was thinking about how I was going to answer that question. Is that at night I'm a night owl. My wife gets up early in the fucking morning. I'm not a morning person. The only reason I'm a morning person is I have kids. But at night I'll go in there, see her sleeping. I'm like, man, she is still a beautiful woman, even when she's just sleeping peaceful. And she's probably first time she's ever heard this is right here, right now. So that's what keeps it for me.
It's get him, son.
Man. Hey, somebody send the message over there, Bruno. I see you up there, send it out there. But that's for me. It's a combination of things where it has evolved, but she is still working to make sure she is the apple of my eye. And I think that's what she hasn't just let go. Got no, I got him. I can just no. She ain't about that. All right. So yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, well, that's a tough act to follow. But
maybe
I'll get some tonight too. If I answer this
answer right.
Okay.
It's gonna be close. It's gonna be close.
No, I hate to go with the cliche stuff. I'll lead off with the cliche is that we built a friendship right off the bat.
I don't think that's cliche. I think that's important.
I think that's important.
So
No, that ain't no cliche.
It's not about the money, how much you make, and what career you have. I can check all those boxes. So that had nothing to do with it. It's about finding someone you can be honest with, be your true self with, and staying true to that, and then presenting that and having them accept it. So if you present yourself as somebody that you're not, it's going to eventually come out that you're not that dude, right? Same thing with her. Time will reveal the true person who you are. I had enough time in college to find out who my mate was, even at that point in time, which is why I married her in the first place. I wasn't going to find out later after we got married who I married. I knew who I married in college. I found out real quick. We had conversations. We spent so much time together, spending the night, moved in basically without a lease. But we spent a lot of time together, a lot of talking, and just being honest, and had real talk to with one another. And so I was able to, I knew what she was about. She knew what I was about. And that's never changed. But the other part that you were talking about, just being attracted to each other, still, if I wasn't attracted, I would not be here. I mean, I'm still totally in love. Every time I see her, I'm like, wow, I'm lucky to be here. I'm lucky that you took me on.
Say that.
Right. And so I tell her that. I hope she realized that. But we always have to vocalize that a lot more. How we stayed together through the years, we kept that friendship going. I stayed true to who I was. We're not the same people. There's things that she doesn't like about me, and there's things I don't like about her, but we learn to accept those things with each other. And if I tried to be the person that she exactly wanted me to be, I would regret her, right? But she's allowed me to, I'm the more social, outgoing guy. She's kind of the more homebody, which is cool. So when we go out, she lets me go out and let me do my thing, and then I come home, and then we get together and we do things together. We travel, we go out to eat, we drink bourbon together, we smoke cigars, we do a lot of things together. But there's a whole lot of shit that I do, which you guys know. I run marathons, triathlons, do all that. She does none of that shit, right? None of it. That's a whole part of my life that's mine, that I've always kept that as part of my life. And she's allowed that, and there's a part of her life that she's allowed to have that. And we still come together, but we still have to come together at the end of the day and have something in common. And we do. We got the kids, we got the family, we travel together. We do all kind of things together that just kind of keeps us going.
Man, I hope y'all listen to that. That's the truth.
I mean some gems in there. One, you have to give people the space and allow them to be themselves, right?
Right.
Just because we are together doesn't mean we have to do everything together,
At all.
right? Like you could get to do your thing and I got to do my thing. We were two separate people when we got together. We're still a unit, but we still have individuality. And you got to allow for that space.
Yeah.
And
I noticed that about you.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
B Falls is B Falls.
Yes.
B Falls is you're a
Yes.
force, you're a personality, and you're married. And I'm like, wow, okay.
Mhm.
His wife accepts him for who he is.
and
And he's a handful. If I was married,
I
and
fucking
I could be a handful too.
More
Don't get me
than.
wrong, but I
I want to be with like you if I get younger.
no relax.
Man,
But
this guy.
but she's always allowed me to be me and give me my space to
she
do
has
that.
to.
And or it wouldn't work for me.
And you wouldn't have it any other way.
I couldn't have it any other way.
Right? You
And
cannot not be B Falls.
could be. I try not to be, but it's hard. But you said something else.
Yes.
In the beginning of that,
Yes,
also in that you built a friendship.
Yes, sir.
Mm.
Yeah.
You built a friendship, and if your
Right.
relationship is built on honest, he my best friend. I ain't saying. I mean, if he is, he is. If she is, she is. That's
No.
great.
Don't marry your best friend.
I mean, that's fine. If that's how your relationship
Right.
works, that's great. But that the rock of it at the center of it is that's my friend.
Yes.
And
Yes.
if
Mhm.
the way you treat your girlfriends or the way you treat your boys, right? Like the way you'll go out of your way for them, the way you think about their feelings, the way you
Mhm.
respect that relationship.
Yep.
Right. Most of my boys I've had since high school, at least. And I cherish those relationships and I treat them as such. I want to treat my wife that exact same way.
Yep.
My partner,
Yep.
my friend, my lover, all of that.
Yep.
And if one of those pillars isn't there,
I mean, if you think about it, it's probably your most important relationship you have to do. You have to work
truly
to.
is.
And I put the word work out there.
Keyword.
Oh, yes.
Work. And so I think a lot of people will see the movies, the rom-coms, all that shit. It's hard work. Like
that's the
I'll-
falling in love. That ain't the
Yeah.
staying in
Staying in
love.
love.
It's
Right,
not
right.
just a job, it's a career.
Right. Thank you. And I was joking with my wife on our anniversary. I was like, "Well, we married 13 years. You ain't killed me yet." So, and it's funny, but we laugh.
Oh,
But
Once
you
in a
got
lifetime.
right. But you got to work to it. And I'll ask her. I asked my wife probably, and she probably gets on her nerves. But I'll sometimes just ran and ask, "Hey, how are we doing? Where are we at? You know,
Right.
how are we
Check
working?"
in.
The check-in. You gotta check in. And fellas, you gotta push that. I think sometimes you gotta push it and understand that you hope for the best, expect the worst. I mean, I'm sorry.
That's part,
Expect
of
the
being,
best.
that's part of being
you
a
know
man
what I
in
mean?
the house. Because
Right.
there's some
It
other
is,
issues there
but-
where women say, I want to be. I don't want my man to dominate over me, or he shouldn't be the man of the house. But part of being a man in the house is having forcing those conversations, those tough conversations, that check in. Like,
And
hey, where are we at?
Right. And my thing is, my wife is a pediatric dentist, so it's like we don't have to worry about the money conversations and the other. She could do. She could do.
Oh,
she-
pediatric dentist.
No, no,
When
when
I
I-
big money.
No. When I'm just putting it in. I know you're not talking, brother. Right.
Oh,
Right.
right.
I know you're not talking. You're trying to throw me into this.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying, what I'm
treats
saying,
my kids.
the reason what I'm saying is that, and this is part of keeping the stress low, is that I know that whatever we are dealing with from a financial career perspective, she can do that all on her own.
Mm-hmm.
She don't necessarily need me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Financially.
Financially.
Yeah.
You know, my wife can take care of her, but it works as a partnership in the sense that we want to be together. And I think guys also, if you're looking for women, find a woman that really don't necessarily need you, because that need will wane. That need goes into
Dependency.
Find a
dependency.
woman that
Yeah.
wants you.
Thank you. There
Right.
it is. Find a woman that wants you, because dependency leads to resentment,
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right.
and you don't want that.
Nah,
You
no
know,
doubt.
And someone made a good point at one time. They were like, you've been hungry late at night and you found food in the refrigerator and you ate it, and yeah, you're not hungry anymore. And people are like, well, was it good? Well, nah, it's what I needed, but it's not what I wanted. So I still want more. So find somebody that wants you,
Ooh,
not just
speak.
needs you.
Ooh, speak on it.
No doubt. No doubt. And I'm
Yes,
sorry,
sir.
I want to circle back to you on this question too, because you didn't get a
Solid.
chance to answer it. But I do want to say that Joe just said something about the work piece, right? Like you have to wake up every day. I don't know who told this to me, but you have to wake up every day and decide, I'm gonna keep working at this relationship. Every day is a
Yeah.
decision. You wake up every day and make the decision that I still want to be with this person, and
Right.
I want this relationship to work, and I'm going to do what I need to do on my end to make sure that it stays rock solid.
Yes.
It doesn't.
Yes.
It just doesn't happen.
Right.
It just
No.
doesn't happen. Some days are easier than others, and some days are harder than others. But you make that conscious decision every day. We wake up like, I love this motherfucker, and I'm gonna stay here and make this.
Yep.
Work. But Solomon, what did Rich do to keep you happy all these years?
I like the way she compartmentalizes things sometimes. So we could be upset with each other, not speaking to each other, having issues with each other, but we still communicate. And if she cooks something, she'll still cook. Make me a plate, be like, are you hungry? Do you need something? I'm at the store. I'll still buy you something. So no matter how upset she is with me,
Take care of home.
Woo, brother.
and it's normally her upset with me.
Been there.
She will
sir.
still
Stay there.
right. She
Live it
will
up.
still do the things that show she cares about me, and she wants me happy, and she wants me fulfilled and progress. So it's not like she says, well, I'm not speaking to you, I'm not making you a plate, I'm not cooking you dinner, screw you, whatever. No, she'll still do all those things. She may still be mad, but she still wants to make sure the household is together. Yeah.
Love it.
So
Let me ask this. And I didn't put this in the list of questions. I'm throwing you a curveball right now.
Oh shit.
Because right now we've been very sunny, suns and flowers and roses, right? What makes this shit hard? And I'm not gonna ask you specifically about what makes this shit hard.
I was thinking about this yesterday when I was riding.
Yeah.
What makes this hard? I'll give you a movie example. Every action movie you've seen, when the hero is about to do something, he's like, hey, stay in the car. I'll be right back. Don't move. He goes in, he takes care of the bad guy. You think it's done. He's about to win. All of a sudden, the henchman walks back. Oh, girl is in a headlock talking about, I got the gun to her head.
What did you get out the car?
Right. Why you get out the car when I was ready?
I told you.
What makes this hard is you have to take care of someone else and make sure they are 100% your focus sometimes. When you are single, you do what you want. If my mama don't like it, screw her. If my dad don't like it, whatever. Your kids, you love them, you want to take care of them, but some people don't always do that. But if you're in a marriage and you're committed, you have to always look out for her interests too. And that goes against self-preservation. That goes against I'm doing for me, I'm making sure what I want. No, you got to look at what she wants too. There are battles now between, living in Chicago where it's 20 degrees half the year and moving to Florida where it's 80 degrees half the year. And
But it's Florida.
It's Florida, right?
Florida guy. The Florida man.
Florida got the Florida man.
Yeah.
They got the weather. But the thing is, you can't just be like, peace, I'm out. You got to be like, all right, what are you going to do? Are you going to be able to work? Are you going to be able to live? Are you going to like it? Is there a place where you have friends and family and yada, yada, yada? So the hard work for me is not just looking out for myself, looking out for her as well.
Always consideration to somebody else.
Yes.
I mean, but think it's also hard, especially when you're in the house. It's like, my wife would say, I'm like a bull in a china shop. You know what I mean? It's like, it's the little things that I always have to always think about that I truly may not sometimes give a fuck about. But it's high on her priority list. So if it's high on her priority list and I don't really keep focus of that, that's gonna bring that tension in the house. You know what I mean? And me and my wife, we're opposites. Like I said, I'm a night owl, she's a morning person. So, but that's just the beginning of it, right? I just go through life. She's gonna plan out this, that, and the other. And if I fuck up a plan, it's hard. Like I said earlier, with the Facebook thing, and it was something that was small to me, but as I thought about why she was so upset, I'm like, oh fuck, this is huge to her. So it's hard work in the sense that Dale, you mentioned it.
Right.
You get two complete individuals, and especially when you're opposites, sometimes there are clashes, and you got to consciously think and consciously work at it. And if you're not in that mentality or that state to do that, then this is not going to work. You know what I mean? Because marriage, it's hard. Like, and I say it's work, and I say it's hard work, but it's hard work in love, right? And love ain't easy. Love is not gonna get you through it. It's actually putting there. But there are days where I know she can't stand me. And there are days I'm like, well, she on this shit already again. What the fuck? All I want to do is just do this, go to my day and do this. And it's a call like, did you do this? Did you do this? And it's like, oh my God. But at the end of the day, that there's an end goal for what that's gonna be. You know what I mean? So It's not roses and sunshine at all. I think Solomon made a good point, was that my wife and I, we've been angry as shit at each other. She's been mad at me, but at the end of the day, it's like, okay, we're gonna get food together. Joe, have you done this? Have you made sure this is taken care of? Hey, baby, hey, I need to call the school, this, that, and the other. We can be mad at you. We can be mad at each other interpersonal level, on a low interpersonal level, but as a whole, as a unit, no, hold on. We ain't about to fuck that up over this, but nigga, you need to know I'm pissed off at you because you fucked this up. You know what I mean? Oh, y'all curse a lot, goddammit. So we
That's
got
all right. In the zone, that's what we do.
Right. But you done fucked up. You know what I mean? And so how you gonna correct this fuck up? And a lot of times we all joke as men, but we the most 9 times, let's say at least 78.87%, we the ones that fucked it up. Because that's how men we are. We don't think about that shit on the emotional level that women think. We just go through life. And
we don't give a fuck like they give a fuck.
Thank you. But brothers, you need a woman that gives a fuck. Yeah. So I'm telling you, it'll extend your life. I got a story about skiing about that shit and probably add another 20 years to my life. But
that's what it does.
You know, but that I think that's it. It is, and every day ain't roses, sunshine, and champagne. Yeah. It just isn't.
Let me give a couple of points on that. First of all, I know people say it's hard. It is hard, but if it was that hard, I wouldn't be doing it. I would have done it for 27 years. So I don't want to make it sound like it's torture and I've been in slavery for 27 years. That is not the case. But I think when you're married, things are just more compact and more explosive because you're living together and you got so much at stake. And every little thing comes in, everything is magnified than more than what it is. And so one thing I've learned, number one, is you're going to have blow-ups. You're going to have disagreements. You're going to have arguments. That's true. But you can't let that go on for weeks and months.
Can you solve?
Because when you do that, that's when you start contemplating like, this shit ain't worth it. I'm getting the fuck out. And we all been there, right? Definitely all been there.
Yeah.
So one of the things I've learned is, you're gonna have blowout. It's gonna be some fucked up shit that happens. But if you can let it just kind of ride out for a couple of days, half the time you kind of forget what that shit was a couple of days later. So let that shit slide for a couple of days. Just be cool. You might not speak to each other for a couple of days. You might be avoiding each other. Here's slide a plate of food under the door, and that's about all you get. That's cool. But a couple of days, let that shit slide, and then come back to each other and say, hey, what were we arguing about? Was it really that fucking serious in the first place? 9 times out of 10, it was not. Second thing is, I don't know if it's social media or just talking to people, but comparing your relationship and your life to other people.
Oh my God.
Because everybody thinks, look at that couple over there. Right. They've been married for 25 years.
Right.
I'm tired of couple goals.
He posted, look, they went to the Bahamas, they went to the, they took it
if you're on Instagram and they buying you a car for any whatever fucking reason, no, I've never bought my wife a car. No, she don't expect
but it's not the one you want to put on.
Right. I'd have made a car payment when she was low, and I had to.
Civic ain't really history.
Right.
It's nothing forward with the Lexus on Christmas.
If you buying cars, no, stop it.
Can you?
Yeah. Hey, Kenya, what's up, girl?
Kenya, the most popular woman ever been on the show.
You have to represent. Yeah. Oh, so wait.
Well,
I was saying that, what happens is sometimes, not me per se, but sometimes our women will look at other women and look at their relationships or their mom and dad even and say, oh, they would never do that and they haven't did this and, you're so selfish, blah, blah, blah. And the thing is, you don't know everything about what's going on in Solomon's relationship. This guy, you don't know what's going on in their relationships and what they're going through. They're going through the same shit that we're going through. They're dealing in their own way, but they're not broadcasting it out on social media.
Yep.
So guess what? On social media, everybody's talking about, hey, I got a new job, how much money I make, look at my new car, we just traveled here, blah, blah, blah. Everything is roses, roses, roses. And even when you talk to people, most of the time it's roses, roses, roses. Right. The real deal is it's not.
It ain't.
So stop comparing. Take care of your own shit. Deal with it in your own way, in your own relationship, because you know that better than anybody else's. And deal with that stuff. And don't hold on to grudges longer than a couple of days. That's it.
Yep. But I'm gonna say something. Dale hit on something was great. That I don't know how relationships work now in the social media age.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because my wife and I, we got married. We started dating married at the infancy of Facebook, and
Mhm.
Twitter wasn't even around when we got
That's
there,
right.
you know. But don't try and judge what other motherfuckers are doing, especially on social media, because
That's
it's usually 85% of the time it's a lie.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Facade.
Right.
It's a facade. And so
Fake
my
hate.
social
There
media
you go.
posting has
Fake hate.
dramatically decreased over the last couple of years. And it's because like I didn't even usually I make a post without this. Like I didn't even make a post about our anniversary. And it wasn't that I didn't want to, it was just that, you know, Karen and I we
No,
talked
you're
about
right.
the anniversary date and it was cool. And now I may make a post later on tonight. But what I mean by that is that like Dale was saying was like, please don't use social media to be a barometer for your relationship.
No.
Mhm.
Because that is a failure point.
Yeah.
That's fuck that. Don't do that shit. That's a failure point.
I tell you what, not to cut you off, I'm gonna get back to you.
No,
Solomon.
go ahead.
No, what's funny about that is, well, not that in particular, but just this conversation right now is, I ain't normally this quiet on the show. I love how much you all have to
Talkers on
say.
this motherfucker.
Look, no, not even, but y'all dropping jewels. I don't even feel the need to really chime in on a whole lot of stuff, but to kind of chime in on this question, and then I'll kick it back to you, Solomon. I think there's a couple of things that where we go left in these relationships, in our marriages. One, pick your battles. I think that we get caught up in the bullshit and about being right. And the one thing I took away from marriage counseling from my first marriage was she said, when you're in an argument, what's your goal? And disagreement, what's your goal? And I said, to win the motherfucking argument.
Right.
And she was like, so if you win, who loses?
Bingo.
I was like, her? She was like, so your goal is for her to lose? Your wife? To lose? And I was like,
Oh,
fuck
man.
you. But you're right. So
You're right.
you gotta, you gotta change that mind frame from I'm trying to win this argument to we should win this conversation.
Be hard on the issues, not on the people.
Right.
Yeah.
Woo. So let's do that. And then we've also touched on it's hard, it's easy. Most days it's just okay.
Yeah.
It's just 80% of the shit is fine.
I'm still alive.
I agree 100%.
And I'm
80% of
moving
the
on.
time it's
Right.
okay. 10% is a fucking amazing. And 10% it sucks.
I'm not always thinking about my marriage.
No.
I go to work.
We gotta
and
get
I go on vacation. I can do a workout, and then I go drink with my boys and hit some golf balls, and whatever. Watch the game.
Yeah.
And that's a day, and that's another day, and that's another day, and just kind of let it ride out.
Yeah.
It's not always focusing on
it's just fine.
her needs and your needs.
Of course
and
you
all
think
that
of course you think that, little sister. You should always
Yeah.
We should win this. But no, like I think he hit on a great
Right.
point is that
It's true.
sometimes the days you want even days. Like they just roll together because you're building up just days and days that you have memories of, and sometimes marriage is just, hey, the mundane. Hey,
Yeah.
hey, did you pick the girls up from school? Who's picking the kids
That's
up? From school? Did you make the lunch? Okay. Joe, hey, did you make sure the dog got put out for the? I mean, it's just mundane shit about that you're interacting to make the day with the family, and you're living. Hey, that's my life.
But you're existing together, and there's no
Yeah.
drama.
If you look back 3 or 4 months and you haven't had a major issue or headache or argument or something else, that was a good 3 or 4 months. You good. You maintain it.
Yep.
Yeah,
telling you.
That speaks to one of your points, like what we're going to talk about.
Which one was it?
Leading forward.
Well,
leading into it.
let's get in.
I think that's where it's leading to, because
Good
it's right.
co-host.
It
I
all
like
kind of
that.
flows
That's right.
together.
He's like, man, look.
I already know that I studied the script.
That's right. Damn, I got talking points. I'm
Right.
and it pleases the jury. So we've talked about the pros, the pros and the cons of being of married life, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, we kind of haven't. Let's dive into that a little bit. The pros and cons of married life versus being single.
All right.
So, everybody breathing hard.
Here the thing is,
everybody breathing hard.
I don't think I met Brian when I was going through a divorce. Like I had been separated, so I was out there in the streets. You know what I mean? Like fucking, I'm kicking on.
As was I.
Man, that's why.
But
in the
as
zone.
you should though.
Yeah,
because that's what you want to do with your life.
So
it's okay.
I remember single. I remember
lady.
single life, and single life. I'll be 47 in June. With single life, do I think I would still look like, do I look at what would 47-year-old Joe be in single life? Would I have been happy with what I'd be? And I would say no. Okay. And that comes in. I kicked it hard. I look at that single life. I lived that life. I did that. But I grew up where, my mom and dad had been married. Only reason my parents aren't married now is that my dad died when I was 20. So I lived in that life. I'm like, okay, this is my goal. I knew that eventually that I was gonna be married and I wanted that. But I needed to get all of that shit out of my system because I was married so early. Mm-hmm. So as a dude, single life is great. And especially nowadays, if you got a great career and you're making great money, this, that, and the other, that shit
halfway in shape.
Man, halfway in shape. That shit is
5'6" and over.
Right. He said 5'6" and over.
You got full hair, the hair too.
Right. Yeah. Shit, you think about that shit. You think about that shit is great. That shit can be great. And
for
so
the moment, though.
It's for the moment because you're living. It's hard to live for the moment every single fucking day. And I just knew that at a point in time, and I think we got married. I think I was 35. Around that time, I was like, I just can't live for the moment every single fucking day because I was living hard life. You know what I mean? And I'm like, I'd be a fucked up looking 47 if I wasn't married. You know what I mean? Because it'd have been a hard life. And so there are pros to being single, huh?
Would have been fun.
It'd have been fun. But you have to weigh that risk reward shit.
Yes. I compare that to like eating candy all the time, right?
Thank you.
Yes.
Right. It's that short term, glorified.
Short term, that shit is tasty as fuck, but it's bad for you.
Somebody put tax
at the end of the day.
Tax breaks.
Once you start getting a certain little level, the tax breaks ain't what you think they are.
Because you need somebody to wake up with, somebody support you, right? That's even more important than that instant gratification. Because, dude, I don't think no man has ever thought not about, man, I could be out there and I have all the women I want to, and I can have a different one every night or 2 or 3.
You need somebody to keep you from doing dumb shit.
Think about that.
Yeah. I mean,
pretty
really
awesome.
Think about it. If men, I think out of this group here, two of us may not be around here if we weren't married. You know what I mean? Just because we would have gotten some fucked up dumb shit and been maybe locked up in the grave, strung out, done whatever, because a woman will ground you. And sometimes
ditch in Columbia.
You can't. You're right, ditch in Columbia. Man, we don't need to walk through life untethered. I just don't think so.
Facts.
As someone said, you look at all of the greatest. I'm a NBA guy. All of the great NBA championships. It's always a duo. It's hard as hell to win a championship by yourself. You need someone else to push you a little bit, to be your go-to, to be.
I put the score of the game in the chat, by the way. Go ahead.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah. We need some game in any of these chats somewhere.
You could think you Jordan, but you need a Pippen. You could think you Kobe, you need a Shaq. You need someone to keep you motivated and push forward, and that's gonna help you. Because some days you're doing 90% and they doing 10%. Other days you feel like doing 20%, like you got the flu. They picking up the slack. They making sure that you still gonna win the game. And that's a good thing about marriage.
Con?
Put you on the spot,
you gotta deal with another motherfucker.
What is the con? Back to the NBA. You always think you're Jordan. You think no matter who is with you, or even if you by yourself, you gonna do it.
Thank you, Focus.
Right. Dame Lillard, he ain't moved. He by himself. He ain't winning the championship anytime soon. You need a partner. And they do say married men live longer.
We do.
That's because your wife won't allow you to die sooner.
Man, or have any goddamn fun. No, I'm kidding.
Right.
Right. I mean, we talk about the cons. I mean, I'll throw out some bullshit cons.
Yeah.
Cons is, I mean, you're responsible for somebody else all the time. I mean, you always have to think about whatever decision you make. You always have to think about somebody else's feelings and what they want you to do. Yeah. If you're single,
thanks, Steve.
If you're single, you can go out, do what you want to, travel. Don't have to check in. Don't have to get clearance.
Right.
And so for some people, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. If that's the type of person you are, you want to be independent. And I'm talking to men specifically.
Yeah. That's
I'm talking about the men.
Yeah.
Because it's a man conversation.
We can't speak to women because
to men, some men just don't want to be. They don't want the responsibility of having to check in with somebody else.
Yeah,
man.
Right? And that's okay.
Yeah.
You have that right. In the world,
that's right.
There's nothing wrong with that guy. And women, y'all shouldn't say, "Hey, that's fucked up." That guy wants that. I mean, if that guy's
Long
like,
as
hey,
he's
you know
honest.
what?
Yeah.
He's honest.
Why was he honest about it?
Dude, I want to live my own life. I want to take my own jobs, make my own decisions. I'm selfish to some degree. We all are. But I'm selfish, but I don't want that lifestyle. Then that's fine. The problem is with the women out there that when you seek a relationship with that guy, that type of guy, he's not the guy that you need to be looking for.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to just be able to decipher between that guy at 50-something years old, possibly, who ain't never been with somebody. That should be a sign to tell you that this guy is probably set in his ways.
Right.
I like to do things my way.
Yeah.
When I want to, how I want to. That's not the guy to go after a marriage with.
Yeah.
And
cool guy to fuck around with. Cool guy to go and drink and do whatever you want to. Travel.
But you got to keep it there, right?
Yeah.
But that's it. But don't expect anything more from him because he already played his cards.
Yeah. And to keep you in check, my boys are always gonna rock with me. They're almost always gonna agree. If I say, "Hey, we riding these dirt bikes off a cliff," they're like, "Yeah, do that."
Yep.
My wife is the one, be like, "Let's think about this for a moment." And sometimes you need that person in your life to say, "Hey, hold up, let's look at the ramifications before you do this."
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's.
Do you ask her, like, when you making an important decision, like whether you should drive the dirt bike off the cliff? Do you ask her if you should do it, or do you ask for her advice and you make the decision?
Both. Sometimes I do it, and it, as we say at my job, it's better to ask for an apology than ask for permission.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes I will just drive the dirt bike off the cliff and deal with the consequences. But now, yes, later in the marriage, I do ask her advice.
Right. Because I don't believe in asking permission.
Yeah,
Man.
Yeah. You
because we're all grown people,
right?
I don't need my permission from my wife to do anything I want to do. And I'm gonna do it anyway, right?
Right.
But I respect her judgment.
Yep.
And so I ask for her advice, and I respect her advice. And when she gives me her advice, most of the time I should follow her advice.
And she's better at consequences. I'm not a consequence person. If I'm doing it, I'm like, fuck it, let's do it. Anyway. She's the one like, wait a minute, are you gonna crash? Are we gonna have hospital bills? Are you gonna do this? Are you gonna do that? You're right. Then I was like, yeah,
I gotta live my life though. I still gotta live my life though.
Right.
Yep.
I don't want somebody else making decisions for a grown person. The same way with her. I mean, I tell her the same thing. If she's making a decision, I want her to confer with me and say, hey, Dale, should I do this or I should not do this? Ultimately, I'm not dictating to her what she should do, what she should not do, which makes a good marriage, right? Because I always tell her I'm older. I'm not going to tell my age on here.
We can do the math.
Right, we can do the math. I'm an old motherfucker. But no, I mean, I make my own decisions, but I always confer with her. If it's a major decision, I'm going to ask her what her advice is, and I'm going to respect that.
Because you got a partner in the house.
Yep.
And I think what's important to point out here about these pros and these cons are what I'm hearing from everybody is the pro is you got a partner. You got somebody you're building with.
Yep.
Not dragging along, not building in spite of.
Not the ball and chain.
That's right. Not the ball and chain.
I do jump with that with you, Shadon. Because I say, hey, the ball and chain, what's up?
Right. Yeah, but
you let me do some shit.
But
I love that.
You're building this future together. Could you build a future individually? Of course you can. But to Solomon's analogy, if I got a partner that's built, if I'm building here and she's building, that house gets built faster, right? We get built together. And now damn, that house got built fast. Let's build another one. While I'm just still building the same one over here by myself.
Yep.
You know, so it's all about, and that's a great word, D, legacy.
Legacy, yeah.
Legacy. You're building a legacy together.
And I like synergy. I like the word synergy.
Another great word.
But you know what though? I'm gonna hear Solomon's joke. When he was talking about driving the dirt bike off the cliff.
Yes, sir.
I got a real life experience with that shit. So I'm a lot of people don't. Some people know.
What is the skiing thing?
Yeah, it's a skiing thing. It's a good segue. So I'm a big time skier. I started skiing like when I was 7 or 8 years old. So,
I'm sorry.
No, my mom was a too. I started with snow gophers.
Oh, snow gophers.
Okay,
yeah. We couldn't afford that.
We all bougie. Don't pay attention.
There we are. I grew into my bouginess.
Yeah, I'm an avid skier. Like I have on piss like skinny skis, and I have the fat powder and the tree skiing. So I was going. So I would tell people, let's go get a ski trip, right? People wouldn't come. I'll go skiing by myself all the time. So I started dating my wife, Leslie, and this, that, and the other. So I'm going to Boise, fucking Idaho to go skiing. only black motherfucker out there, right? So I'm skiing, and she was like, and I was skiing trees. I would do tree skiing, bow skiing, ski
Hell
tree.
no.
I never wore a helmet. I never wore a
Hell
helmet.
no. But go ahead.
Go ahead.
That's called Alpine.
No,
That's
Alpine.
I don't know shit about skiing, brother.
But I'm gonna go into this. I never wore a helmet. I did not ever wear a helmet. I'm a tall dude, so it's like I would go skiing through trees, this, that, and the other. And so I'm going to Boise, Idaho. My wife was like, "Do you have a helmet?" I'm like, no, what the fuck? I'm gonna ski with a helmet. I ain't never ski with a helmet. I don't like the way it feels. Throw my balance off. She begged me, and it was one of those things that you're talking about. Dale and Solomon was like, "Hey," she insisted. We went back and forth. Fuck it. I'm gonna buy this damn helmet. I'm gonna wear this helmet for this woman. Go skiing, get a helmet. I'm skiing through a regular route, this, that, and the other, in the trees. I'm flying, and I ducked this big branch. I ducked below it, and I felt a little bump, small little bump. I get on the ski lift. It felt warm. I took my helmet off, and it's a gash that went from here to here.
Wow.
On my helmet.
Right.
I'm on a ski lift. I immediately call her like, "Look,
you just saved my life.
You just saved my life. Thank you." When I say a gash, it was a good 3 or 4 centimeters gash in my helmet. I still have this helmet at home. I still have that helmet. I will not ever throw that helmet away. But what it was one of those things that she just kept insisting. I was like, this is not the battle to fight. Yeah. Fuck it. I'm going to buy this helmet. I'm going to wear this helmet. And ironically, if I didn't have that helmet, it would have tore my scalp from here to here. I probably bled out there.
Right.
Yeah. And so those are the things that you want a woman is like, sometimes guys, like,
guys, you need a woman because you're going to kill yourself.
Right. You got to pick
your battles. That's how we are.
Right. We don't give a fuck about that. We just consequences.
Men are different from women. So let me tell you all that first. Men are different from women. We are testosterone driven, evolutionary. This is how we got to this point. And the whole thing is,
I want to talk about that.
We're going to take some risks that you guys are not going to take.
And not even understand.
Right.
Yes.
But we have to do it.
Because that's just how we
are wired. That's how we're designed.
That's how we are.
We're wired that way.
That's why they live longer than us.
But that's probably why we need them to kind of counter that, bring us back from doing some crazy ass shit. Yep. I've jumped out of planes. And my wife had jumped out of the planes with me twice.
Oh, nice.
Oh, nice.
Love it.
She didn't stop me from jumping out of the plane.
Exactly.
Let me ask
jump out with you, but I'm not gonna tell my parents.
You just did. Let me ask this real quick, and then we gonna ask. Then we gonna wrap this up. But I do want to. This is a great question from Jim. And this is really just for me and Joe. How did you get the courage for the second marriage?
I'm gonna let the host take that one, and I'll go first since he hasn't been talking much.
I would just say real quick before I even start. I entertain that question because we all do. Because even though I have not had a divorce, but we've always contemplated.
Let's go.
We have always contemplated divorce. 27 years. Shadon, you know you know you have, and I have too. Stop it. All right.
Dale is not getting it.
We're doing it.
So
I would still get
I
something.
would say I'd never again for me.
But I've always said never fucking again because it took so much work.
Right.
To get to this point, to know somebody and get to that point. I don't know how you guys said yes to the second time.
This how it happens.
So you guys can talk now. I'm good.
So here's how it happens for me, at least. And I didn't really. I think enough of you have watched the show over the years, hopefully, to know my story. But real quick, I married my high school sweetheart. I was 25 when I got married the first time. We had dated for 10 years at that point, and we were married for 10. But to Joe's point, we fell in love as kids, and we grew up to be different adults. So I've never, not once, blamed her for our not working out. I blame me more than her. But at the end of the day, what it really turned out was just that, right? We just grew up to be different adults. I was not the same person she fell in love with at 15. I would hope not, or 16, and she wasn't the same. So that made it far easier for me, Jim, to jump into the second one because I was a different person. My perspective was different. How I moved was different. How I thought was different. How I loved was different. And to be frank, I wasn't looking for a relationship in that moment. Again, let me say that again. We dated since I was 15, 16, got married at 25, 26, divorced when I was 35, 36. I'd been with the same person 20 years. Let me tell you something. I was ready to be out in that world. All right. And I was. But when the one comes around and you know it, you don't fuck around. And she was the one. So it made her being as awesome as she is, made that decision far easier. And me just being in a different place in life from when I was when I first got with my ex made it far easier. Joe?
Yeah, so mine is a little bit different. Like I always hit on it was that we had been dating since I think my dad down was 20, about 21. 21, we started really dating heavily around 21, got married at 22, separated at 25, finally divorced. I mean, I lost contact with this woman for like 2 or 3 years so we can get the divorce finalized. But how I justified going and doing it again was that I kicked it from 25 to 34. You know what I mean? I was just, it was out of my system. And yes, I was angry as fuck at her those first year and a half or so after separating. And then I just got out into the world. And to be perfectly honest, because my dad, I played every single sport you could think of. My mom got me into all types of shit. And I just happened upon in the zone sports. When we were talking about we had a men's football league. And so that got me to get away from the anger of what I was doing. I did go through some little bit of counseling. I did that for 6 months. Went to therapy for that. I had to get my mental health on there. And that was one of the best things that I did. And then ironically, my kid's godfather, he spans both relationships and he stuck through. He was like, hey, Joe, whatever you need, said that she wasn't the one for you. But I didn't look at it as that marriage was bad because marriage itself isn't bad. It was that it was two people that should never have been married in the first place.
That's right.
And once I got to that realization, my anger subsided. My anger, a lot of y'all don't like, oh, Joe, angry? Yeah, motherfuckers see me. Yeah, I have an anger streak, right? But you have to push me to that point. And with that, I learned to know that it wasn't marriage was bad. It was just that you had two people that just did not need to be together at that point in time. And I know there's people who know my ex-wife, and y'all can chime in however you want. But for me, once I got to that point, I was like, fuck it, I'm never getting, I can honestly tell you at 25, 26-year-old Joe was like, fuck that. I am never, ever getting married again. But once I had gotten to 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, I was like, you know what? The fuck you doing, Joe? It wasn't a marriage. It was her. It was you. And I moved on. So I was open to that second time. And that's where it comes down to, I think, Jim, you were asking about timing. I had healed by then. I was, at that time, I was tired of running. I mean, I was like, man, I need a fucking break from doing this shit that I was doing. Coming in at 2 a.m. from Tuesday to Sunday, that shit was tiring. You know what I mean? It was fun. Don't get me wrong. It was a whole bunch of fucking fun. But
it's exhausting.
It gets to a point to be exhausting. I think that people don't understand it. But going through a divorce, that is a traumatic fucking experience. Yeah. And especially doing it young. And I look at Brian, I didn't know they were together 20 years. That shit, that's crazy. But that going through a divorce is traumatic. And I think for me is that I try and work harder in marriage because I've been through divorce. I see the carnage that can do to you from mental health. And luckily, we didn't have kids. And I know Brian had kids. We didn't have kids. So I could do a clean break and walk away. But that emotional thing, when you're a developing young man at 23, 24, 25, it could have gone left real bad in my life. But, but I got to the point where I was like, fuck it. It was just her. I haven't talked to her in 15, 17, 18, whatever it is years. I have no idea what the fuck she's doing. Don't think about it. So that's how I got into going into the second marriage. And when I was really about it, Leslie just showed the fuck up, and it was, you write the history.
What's funny is I don't think she just showed up.
No. So here's the funny. Here's the funny fucking shit. Here's the funny fucking shit. Yeah. So I'm going through this, and my cousin Barrington, some people know him as Scott, had been trying to hook me up with a young lady for a couple of years. And I'm like, Barrington, dog, I'm not for all that shit right now. And it was Leslie. I had no idea. And he was like, dog, I've been trying to hook you up with her for a while. But it was just that, when you look, it depends on your age. Now, and that's why I think Dale was talking about, like, you had your battles, you had your fights and shit. But divorce, that's a traumatic experience. That will shorten your life. And it's not just, I know people think, oh, dudes, I always take half my money. The money part ain't it. The money part, you got to deal with, we got kids. How are you going to deal with your kids' emotional well-being? How are you going to deal with your emotional? We are older black men. That's going to shorten your life. I mean, it's, you got a lot of shit to deal with when you start bringing up divorce and going through that as you're older. I went through mine younger. Going through it older, I'm not trying to hear that shit.
Yeah, Jim, I think it's really about personal growth
Mm-hmm.
and personal mental health, taking care of that, right? Like any relationship, when you get out of it, is hard. Getting out of a marriage is tough, and jumping into another one, or I won't even say jumping into, carefully calculating about getting into another one, it can be scary. But you got to realize that each relationship is its own entity, and you cannot carry the baggage from that one into this one, because that's a completely different person, completely different relationship. And hopefully, if you do the work, you're a completely different person. Gentlemen, real quick, we got to round robin it. If you had some final thoughts for the ladies, or any final thoughts in general you want to share, if you had any advice you want to get the ladies about, and we've already given some, but about how to I don't want to say catch and keep. That sounds awful, but find the relationship they're seeking, or if you want to talk to the brothers about the advantages of what a marriage is, or you just want to encompass all this in anything. Final thoughts. I'm gonna pass the baton around. Damn, I'm start with you.
Okay. Ladies, wow. Be the best person you can be on your own. Take care of your shit before you come into a marriage. And don't expect the man to make you into the person that you want to be or make you happy. Be happy coming into the relationship. Secondly, if you're trying to catch a man, make yourself accessible and make yourself, I want to say, attractive. Don't come in and start complaining about all the stuff that you went through. But I mean, come in with, I got my stuff together, because that's going to make you more attractive. I mean, at this point, you're going to be more attractive to somebody like us at this age, because I know what I'm looking for when I come home. Okay, let's look at, because I'm not looking for a new person. But I know when I come home, somebody who is already well-adjusted at 50 years old, who already got their stuff together, who's not looking for somebody else to make them happy. So just make sure you have your stuff together, right? Other part, wow. I am pass.
Boom.
Pass.
Yep.
I'll go with what my uncle said at my wedding. When he stood up to give a speech, he said, "Marriage is a great institution, for people that like to be institutionalized."
That's a double entendre.
Exactly. So you get, once again, you gotta want it. You have to want to be married. You can't just like the idea of marriage. You can't just like the person and say, well, she's wonderful, I'm gonna hitch a ride with her. You gotta want it, because if she's great and you ain't doing your shit, she's gonna walk away and she's not gonna be on for you. For the ladies, do your shit. Guys see it. If you are wonderful and excellent, every time they have a conversation with you, they're making notes. They mentally have already been attracted to what you look like, already like the way you dress, they like the way you sound. They may not be ready, but they are targeting you. And they may be making moves on the back end. Hey, I'm trying to get myself together because she says she wants this. She says she wants this. Let me make sure when I step to her, I got this in my back pocket because I know I want her. So there are people out there that are looking at you. You just don't understand or pay attention to the fact that they're after you.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm going to say something that I think that no one has mentioned the word, is that the word compromise. You got to be in a state, in a position, and in a space where you can compromise. Relationships are all about compromising. And if you, as a man or woman, refuse to be, if you're saying like, I'm never compromising, fuck that, I'm not going to compromise this, that, and the other. And I'm not talking about, oh, okay, I go to church and this dude over here smoking crack. That's not a compromise. I'm talking about general everyday compromise on how you're going to build things. If you don't have that type of disposition, then marriage isn't for you. But the other thing that I say is that with marriage, like you said, it is work, but at the end of the day, you have to really like the person you're being with. Love is one thing, but you have to like being around them to be able to push you forward and to deal with that. And fellas, it's hard. Ladies, it's fellas, I think as black men, especially successful black men, there's a lot of women that's out there for you. You think you're a commodity, you can run those streets, but find one that ticks most of your boxes. No one is going to tick every single box you have. But if you have a priority list of boxes to tick, and someone satisfies that shit, roll with that shit. See where that goes. Perfection is just not out there. So I think stop looking for perfection, learn to compromise, and learn to pick your battles, and you will have a not saying you will be successful, but you'll put yourself on a better path to success.
Great gems, guys. Great gems.
Yes,
I will finish on this note. I think real fast, when we're talking about relationships and we're talking about dating and putting yourself in the best position to win, I think you just have to put yourself in the best position, period.
Mm-hmm.
If your mental health, if your finances, if your all these your goals, your wants, your needs, you're not, as Joe just said, you're not going to find the perfect person. You got to find a perfect person for you. And it's not compromise if you are going extremely out of your way to make things work. It's not compromise to say, I want somebody to make, I'm just using money as an example, $250,000 and he makes 220. All right, that's not really a compromise.
Exactly.
If you're compromising your morals, if you're compromising your mental health, if you're compromising your physical well-being, that's compromise.
Yep.
What you need to figure out is, does he make me happy and can we make this work? With all that external shit to the side. Not saying it's not important. I'm not saying money's not important. I'm not saying that all that stuff isn't important. It's not most important. What's most important is he right for me and can all the rest of that be built? Is she right for me and can all the rest of that be built? Because it can, if you're willing to put in the work and the time. All right, y'all. This is an amazing conversation. I love these brothers. I love y'all for watching. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the In the Zone podcast. I have no idea when Chantel comes back what we're going to be talking about. Probably something way less profound than this. But enjoy, y'all. Have a good night. Enjoy the rest of the game. Holla at y'all later.
All right. Peace.